Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you guys for joining us for our Conversations with Carla. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are right now because it's quite sunny and balmy where I am. So hopefully you are experiencing a great day wherever you are. And I want to just introduce myself. My name is Carla. I'm your relationship doula, helping men and women bravely birth peace in the pieces of their lives. So we're going to have a wonderful conversation today about chronic illness. Many times I've said to my sister and others, you don't look sick. And there's some people who have an illness and they look sick, but sometimes with certain chronic illness you don't look sick, and we're going to hear a little bit about her journey. So Carmen, can you introduce yourself to my audience, please?
Hi, I'm Carmen. Uh, your relationship doula actually has been we have been her first set of clients. So she's been working on her magic through us. So she has been trying to get me ready for this day where I'm going to talk about this journey of mine. She is determined. Now, her first jab at me was in 2014. I started to spill my story in 2014. I needed to because I was going on vacation with my classmates and I needed to sort of kind of give hints about my limitations. The class trip went very well. They understood everything. And then the class trip was in 2015. And then 2016, May, Lupus Awareness Month, I shared every day bits and pieces of my story. I had officially finally come out clean about my illness.
Yes, and as she says, I tend in my family to poke at people, not intentionally, but I do seem to say something that just kind of gets them stirring and talking about it. Because one of the things in our journey, I said so many times you stumble and mess up relationships because you don't even know. And it's like people are keeping secrets. And it's not that it's a secret, but they just don't even realize how important, if we knew some information, it could help us in the journey. So I want to thank Carmen for being brave enough, having the courage in spite of her fears to come on here and open up her life. Because as I've told you before, our family is one of introverts. We don't like to talk our business. And so I have brought my family outside of their comfort zone because my new mantra is learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because she needs to make sure she tells her story for the next generation and for somebody else who may be out there who just doesn't know what's happening to their body, and people may not believe what they're feeling and things like that. So Carmen is actually going to show us different types of chronic illnesses, and then we're going to talk some more. So Carmen, take it away.
Okay,
She's an educator by
the
heart.
teacher in me kicked in, and I just could not have a conversation with Carla without some um, visual aids. So the first picture is of me as I started the journey coming out about my autoimmune disease, lupus. So that's the first. So then you see the second picture. It's the same person. You may not believe it, but that's the same person in the photo. In the first photo, I started wearing a wig, and then I decided to lock my hair. And then as my hair started growing, then I got comfortable enough to get rid of the wigs and just rock my dreads.
But tell
So
them why you were wearing a wig.
that's coming.
Okay, sorry.
So, what is an autoimmune disease? An autoimmune disease, our body's natural defense system can't tell the difference between our own cells and foreign cells, causing our bodies to mistakenly attack normal cells. So my body actually thinks it's helping me. It's attacking something that it think it's foreign, but it actually is killing something that I need. So that's what an autoimmune disease is. Now, living with an
But
autoimmune
flip
disease.
your script. It didn't stay, Carmen. Flip it to the next
No, no,
slide.
no. I wasn't ready for that.
Okay, sorry.
So, so autoimmune disease looks different on everyone. I mean, it looks different. We may have some commonality, we may have some stories that are similar, but everyone's looks different, because I don't have the same background, family support. My family support is awesome. Insurance wise, weather, we're not the same. So I am telling you my truth. I'm telling you my story. Now, did I handle it correctly? No. Was it the smartest thing to do for me to keep it a secret all these years? No. Did it nearly kill me a couple of times? Yes. I was straight naive because I just wanted to be normal. So, yes, so I would not recommend anyone to be as naive as I was. And that is why Coach Carla is trying to get me to talk so that people won't make the same naive mistakes I did. So, but one thing that we do have in common is fatigue. And fatigue is not you're tired. Fatigue for me is I got hit by a dump truck. A Mack truck hit me out of nowhere. I don't know what just happened. I tell my family I am tired, and that is the clue word. I am tired. It means that within 5 minutes, I am asleep. It does not matter where I will, and I'm a germaphobe. I will have to get on the floor, get somewhere. And in 15 minutes, I am good. But that's the cue. I will never ever use that word unless I am tired, and they know it. I am tired. It's a different type of fatigue than you experience. Joint pain or swelling, skin problems, abdominal pain or digestive issues, recurrent fever. I keep a fever. So with this COVID going on, and I have to take my temperature every day to get into work. I had to let my supervisor know. I sometimes run a temperature, but I'm not sick. So they had to get warning so that I wouldn't be turned away from work, and then swollen glands. So the reason why I and some others may keep their chronic illness a secret is because these things are so embarrassing. They're so embarrassing. You really don't want people to know. So if you have Crohn's disease, you're really scared to say anything because they're not nice about it. A person with Crohn's, they have ulcers, they have anal issues. All people are going to say, oh, you got the boo-boo disease. Oh, you always crapping. Oh, you got to use the bathroom through a bag. They're not nice about it. So it's like, I really don't want people to know. But lately I've been seeing people on the internet, like this guy, who could care less. They're in their bathing suits that can care less. That's what I like about the younger generation now. They're coming out and they could care less about it. And then people say some hurtful things, not knowing a person has Crohn's. Or, man, you need to gain some weight. You're skinny. They can't. So it's kind of embarrassing, some of these diseases. And then polycystic ovarian syndrome. Do you really want to tell somebody you have that? And then they Google it, and then they find out that you may not ever have a cycle. You can go 8 years without a cycle, 12 years without a cycle. Or if you have a cycle, it can go longer than the normal person of 3 days or 5 days. And you hear a lot when like, how did the person know they were pregnant? Duh. Okay. Yeah, some people can find out they're pregnant months later. Well, didn't they have a cycle? How did they know they were pregnant? That's stupid. No, your ignorance is stupid. Or this disease can also cause excess male hormones. So women can grow facial hair. Do you really want to tell somebody your struggle? They're not too nice, okay? Not too nice. And then celiac disease. Celiac disease, you look normal. That's why I don't have a picture of it. But you could go from one extreme to the other, constipation or diarrhea. And then how do you explain to someone you're allergic to gluten when gluten is in everything? Oh, I've been on a gluten-free diet. It's not that bad. Oh my God, you being on a gluten-free diet is not the same as them not having to ever touch. I had a student whose parents owned a pizzeria. She's like, Miss Patterson, I can't even go help them. I can't even be in the same building. She missed so many days of class, but it was okay because I too had an autoimmune disease, so I could relate to her. So do you really want to tell people this? Then MS, all of a sudden you're going fine. And then your body decides that the brain and the body are not going to communicate and you can't walk. You have mobility issues. You're got to be kidding me. What just happened? Sometimes it's too embarrassing to let you guys know. Alopecia. And you ask me why I wear a wig. Because your sister has had some variation of these, except for the MS. I've had some variation of this drama. Okay, so correct. Both times I got pregnant, I did not know I was pregnant. I did not. Okay, because I have that drama issue. Then alopecia, I have that issue as well. Okay, but mine is not the full alopecia that some people experience. So how do you want to let people know, especially when folks make fun of people who wear weaves, who wear wigs? It's a running joke. So how do you let people know? And then this Congresswoman, Yana Presley, just came out recently. She's on the floor of Congress now without her wig on. You know what? I ain't got time for this. It itches. It does. Those weaves, they itch. But sometimes you do not have the courage to let people know, so you hide. You hide. Then you have lupus. And if you should ever mention to somebody you have lupus, they have already put you in the grave. I know my cousin's uncle's brother died of it. I'm so sorry. Oh, my niece did it. Wait. Y'all putting me in the grave already? So I've tried to tell people years ago, but they had already put me in a coffin and scared the bejesus out of me, and I went back into hiding. So this is a picture of the singer Seal. For a long time, people thought that the scars on his face were some African tribal ritual. No, Seal has lupus, and these were scars that did not get treated well, so they marked up his face. I have those scars. I've just been lucky enough that mine aren't dominant that way. So that could be why folks never shared. It's too embarrassing.
Oh my goodness, you gave us such a wealth of knowledge in that. And I thank all of you for your comments, but I'm not going to take any questions or comments until the end because my guest gets nervous. And so you have to, we're going to definitely cover that later on there. But I liked when you were sharing all this information to us about the different ones of the journey. So now you've told us about the different types of possible chronic illness we're seeing. And what we want others listening to know is for us to have some compassion. We may not know someone's story, but we still can be compassionate, and in whatever phase of life we find ourselves in with people. I know the other day, someone told me they were with someone, a client, a patient, and they had a bag, and they were a little bit embarrassed because they had to release some of it. And so again, she was gracious and let them go. The lady kept apologizing. Oh, this smells, but it's like, you know what? Hey, it's okay. This is something that's necessary, and we there's nothing you can do about that. So this is a chronic illness. So what I want to ask you as well too is that, when were you diagnosed with your illness?
I have a vague memory. I do not know specifics. I do know that we were living in St. Croix. We had come back from Puerto Rico. I know that much, but that means I had to be around 10. So around 10, I remember we went camping, and that is why I detest camping, because I have such a negative memory about camping. So we were out camping. I had taken a nap. I woke up from the nap, and I was just trying to get to people. And I took a couple of steps, and my heart was just coming out my chest. It was just coming out my chest. So I stopped, caught my breath, and then I took some more steps, and it did the same thing. So little by little, I got to a group of people, and one person who was there was my aunt, who happened to be a nurse. So I explained to her what was going on, and she too did the experiment. And then my auntie could be in a Tyler Perry movie because she knew how to overact. And next thing I know, they were screaming. My dad had me. He was what we call, I'll go call it running, because I have no memory of this man running. But we got to the car real quickly. And next thing I know, I was in the hospital for eons, it seemed like. Test after test. And then, they would not let me touch the floor. I could not walk. Nobody would let me walk. I couldn't understand the gravity of it. Apparently, I was hard-headed, so I got moved to a room with crib, railings. They would not let me out the railings. I could not touch the floor. Some of that, it was ridiculous. So it had to have been serious. I woke up one time to see some ministers over me. Now older, I realized it was an anointing service, but I never opened my eyes. I was just like, what is going on here? And I pretended to be asleep. I didn't figure out what it was until later on. So it had to be serious. So around 10 was
with that, because I remember vaguely that, because I remember, again, as children, you don't know what's happening, but I remember that they brought you Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we rarely ever did that. I was like, she's in the hospital, she gets to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, as we look through the window there at the Charles Howard Hospital there. But when were you? Was it until college when you were officially diagnosed with it?
correct, because all now life is interesting. So I'm monitored very closely, very closely. I mean, my mom is staring at me all the time, all the time. If I look sick, if I look down, if I look sad, this lady is coming to take my temperature. So I kept getting strep throat. I kept getting sick. I avoided my mom because this, every time you walked past her, she was doing this to make sure if I had a temperature. It became very annoying. So I'm being monitored. I want to do gymnastics. No, you can't do gymnastics. Your heart can't take it. Please, I promise, I won't overexert myself. I promise. I'm being monitored, but they let me do it. Okay. Then we used to have those track and field days.
Yes.
Everybody was running. No, you can't run. Your heart can't take it. So I learned to monitor my heart and what I couldn't do. And sometimes I did scare myself, but I wouldn't let them know because I knew, oh, you shouldn't have done that. That
Right.
really did. So I would freak out. And then different things would happen. So my mom and I would always be, my crazy body, your crazy body. I'm like, Mom, my crazy body did such and such that. I don't know what's wrong with your crazy body. So that's how we referred to my body, the crazy body. The body did all kinds of crazy stuff throughout high school.
Now, one of the
School, it did crazy stuff.
because right, all of that stuff happening with this lupus and living with it. But now, as you've moved into adulthood, I know you don't necessarily tell anyone what you're doing, because I know we had a conversation the other day with your nieces, and you asked them the question, did they realize that you were sick? Because you function you function as though fatigue and your joints weren't hurting you, and
because I
that
had practice. I had practice. I learned not to let my mom know that I was sick. I learned to let everybody know I wasn't sick, because if I was sick, then I couldn't do certain things. So I learned to hide everything. So as a kid, you learn certain things. And if I was going to be told no because I was too sick, then I had to hide that I was too sick to do it. So therefore, I learned to compensate. I learned to walk in pain. For example, one time we went to camp in Statia, and I didn't take my medicine. So I got sick, and they had to take me to the clinic. I got a shot of penicillin in the rump, which causes me to limp. I got that once a month. Every month I had to go to the doctor to get that shot because I was too stubborn to take the pills orally. And I was walking, and this man accused me of, every time I see you, you're leaving the cafeteria. If you didn't eat so much, you wouldn't have to limp when you're walking. You're too full. This man knows me, nothing about me. I was in pain. I learned to walk in pain. I learned to adjust myself. I can catch myself. So I've learned to function with the pain because nothing was ever done about it. I would complain of a headache. We went through all kinds of tests, me drinking, all kinds of stuff. My head is killing me. I don't know what's with the migraines, all kinds of tests. They came back negative. So what was the point? So I just learned to deal with the headache, because every time I complain about something, we did all these tests, nothing happened. So you start to think it's your imagination, or everybody has a headache. So what's the big deal? Everybody has a headache. Everybody goes through this. What's the big deal? In high school, I got the marks on my face. My mom is like, there was a pimple that didn't heal. Stop picking. I'm not picking on him. I'm not picking. Okay. Another one just showed up. I'm telling you, I'm not picking at it. Then one showed up in my ear. Carmen, clean your ear. Mommy, my ear is not dirty. People complain about my ear. So I learned to cover my ear. I get to college. Crazy body is still doing stuff. But now I get a sore in my head. And my mom said, enough is enough. You have to figure out what's wrong with your body. You have to go see a doctor. So now I go to a dermatologist because it's a sore in my head. So that's the one we figured we would go to, a dermatologist. And this man is the one who identified what I had. He wasn't too nice about it.
What did he do, Carmen?
I mean, you weren't there anymore, so it had to be sophomore year. I'm not sure if I had turned 19 as yet. I'm not sure, but you were gone, so that means it was sophomore year. And Letitia hadn't arrived, so it had to be sophomore year because I went to the doctor by myself. But I have no clue what this gentleman said, because he said, you have something called lupus, and you eventually will lose your hair. How you going to tell a 19-year-old eventually going to lose her hair? I heard nothing else that doctor said. Nothing. I got home, got on the payphone, because that's what we had back in the dorms, got on the payphone. My mom said, "What's the matter?" I said, "He said, I have something called lupus and I do not want to discuss it." And that was the end of it. She knew not to ask me another question.
So
I never
now,
looked it up, nothing.
okay, because when did you finally start looking it up to learn about your disease? Because I want people with chronic illnesses. I know I had someone close to me upset with me because I said, you need to learn how to manage your illness and educate yourself, because they thought I was being a little bit callous with them. But when did you finally start to educate yourself about your illness?
It wasn't, I know Robbie was born in 1992. I think it was around 1992 because this man showed up on the scene and everybody was talking about him and said he had lupus, but he looked like death walking.
What
But
man?
it was a pastor.
Okay, okay, uh-huh.
It was a pastor,
Somebody,
and but
okay.
he looked like death.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's what I have. That's how
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look.
Mm-hmm.
So little by little, and I was searching for certain things, but when I would say it out loud, people would give me the death sentence. And then I backed away and I backed away. So I started around there when I met a man that had it because I got scared.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so accustomed to pain and still functioning. I've had doctors ask me, weren't you dizzy? How were you functioning? And I've said, I don't know. I just
Mm-hmm.
do. I
Right.
don't know. I just do. I
Oh, wow.
function with my blood level, my blood count being close to getting a blood transfusion. And I begged him not to. I said, please, 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 just give me a chance. Give me a chance. No, no, no. Don't give me a blood transfusion. No, no, no. It's not. It's safe now. You're not gonna get AIDS. Nah, that's what y'all told my. That's what y'all told my godmother. No, 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 no. You're not giving me a blood. Please, please, please. But how are you functioning? I don't know. I just.
Oh, wow. Okay, okay. So I want us to fast forward a little bit, because growing up, we kind of knew something was amiss, but really didn't know the name of it. Because I'm not sure when I finally knew what the name it was that you had. But one of the things I do remember is when you started, as adults, as siblings, we started being intentional about our relationships, and erasing some of the memories or stereotypes we had of each other's as children. And so asking the question, when you say you're tired, or when you say something, tell us what that means. And I remember the time when you told us about spoonies. It was such a great way to let us know when you'd reached your limit. And so sometimes we didn't know, and you would just disappear, or you would just blow up or something, and we just didn't realize exactly what load, the kind of load you were carrying. But with your analogy with the spoonies, it was such an eye opener as you educated us on how to interact with you, to be compassionate, and to be aware of what your illness is.
And I also had to realize there was an easier way than just blowing up when I'm tired, when I've had enough, when I just need to get away from everyone. I had to figure that out too. That it's okay to exit a room without causing a major catastrophe on my exit in the room.
So, because many people may think you're being antisocial, when really your capacity is no more. You just have to exit.
So it's a story written by, I'm trying not to mess up her last name, Christine Miserandino, but she put it in such great terms. If you ever want, is the Spoonie theory, and on your link to this, it's there. The Spoonie story is there. So she was trying to explain to her friend how she functions with this chronic disease. And she says, you are born, you wake up every morning with an unlimited supply of spoons, an unlimited supply of energy. I don't. I wake up with a limited amount of spoons, energy, and I have to decide how I'm going to use those spoons every day. I, Carmen, have to decide what I am going to put my energy in. So I decided that my energy was going to, without knowing this theory, my energy always went into going to work. I liked going to work. I liked being busy. I liked going to work. So I got up and I went to work. I like a clean house. So I used my energy for a clean house. That was it. Didn't cook, didn't wash clothes, didn't do anything else. That all fell to my wonderful husband. Everything else fell on him. Raising the kids, everything. I would invite tons of students over. I cleaned the house. I drove them to the house. He fed them. I decided where my spoons would go. I learned to disappear and he would entertain them. They would entertain themselves, but I didn't have enough energy, especially if I had to do something that night with them because I worked at a boarding academy. I had to go and find some more spoons, some more energy to deal with it. So I did. So when I now get into exercise, I cannot work, clean, and exercise. So something had to go. At one point, it was work. I didn't work. I took a 2-year hiatus because I was having a flare up. We live in flares and recessions. So I was having a flare and I did not work for 2 years. So I could maintain the clean and exercise.
So now I want to pause on exercise for a little bit there now. I didn't find my picture, but for those of you who's heard my conversation a couple weeks ago with Lloyd Henry talking about health, a family affair, Lloyd and Carmen were instrumental in us getting our health together. One of the things that we've always known runs in our family, and we try to have that knowledge passed on. We know hypertension runs in our family. We know diabetes runs in our family. We know that obesity can be easily a problem, and that leads to those other two things that are preventable. So things that we can prevent. And Carmen, in your journey with your health, your numbers were getting to a point that in addition to the lupus, your numbers were getting there, that was a concern, correct?
Correct.
And so who got you on the exercise? Was it Lloyd or the Black Girls Run? How, or Tara? Who got you on track to begin that journey?
Well, the person who got me on track to begin that journey was my doctor.
Okay.
My doctor had threatened me. She was like, okay, you're not listening. We've had this A1C conversation for years. You're not listening. You're getting on medication for it. Well, stupid me did not know that there was a process before the insulin injection. All I could think about was Grammy and that insulin injection, and then great granddad Winfrey with no legs. And I had a total meltdown. And I said, I begged her, please, 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 please. I promise.
You do a lot of begging with doctors.
Man, oh my gosh. Let me Grandpa Winfrey in that wheelchair with no legs. And I thought that he was a vet. They they were amputated due to diabetes. Oh my God, the crying that I did. I begged her, I begged her, I begged her. I said, I'll listen this time. And I ran home. I called my dietitian sister and I told her what was going on. I read my A1C and she says to me, I cannot help you if you do not listen to me. You must promise to listen to me. And I had to promise to listen to her. And as she's talking to me, I revealed to her that I had an email. I had gotten an email from an old college friend who apparently saw me at a 40th birthday party and was concerned about how I looked. and the amount of weight I had gained, Tara. And Tara sends me an email and says, "Do you want to work out together?" And
Oh,
I just put it on the back burner, but I told I told the dietitian sister, and she says, "You must respond back. You must answer her back. You must
mm,
report to her and you must report to me." So I emailed her, and so I had to report to dietitian and get my food order from her. And then I had to report to Tara, and this was before technology and everything. I had to report to Tara to get my exercise instructions
wow.
for the week. Then I had to email both of them back on the week, after the week, to get my new orders and say what I had done. So
Wow.
between the two of them, so Tara just started me exercising, but I knew Tara ran and I knew Lloyd ran. And
Mm-hmm.
then one day we had some guests. My big sister Beverly and brother Ted came for a visit, and I knew Beverly ran.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Beverly, I would like to run, but I don't know what to do." And Lloyd had already tried, but he can be sometimes. So
You
Beverly
needed a
said,
little baby step, someone to help you
"Yeah,"
along a little bit. Yes.
and
Uh-huh.
not somebody in your ear like a drill sergeant. And he can be that. So she took me out and she taught me to breathe, and we went and she was doing, and so she got me going, and then she left and we had set a goal. So now I have um started running. I have Tara's instructions, I have Letitia's instructions, and then I had to give up something because of the spoons. And that's when I decided to give up being OCD clean.
Oh.
I couldn't have OCD clean issues and the spoons to do the exercise and
Oh,
then
wow.
continue working.
Okay, I want to pause there a minute there because what I hear you saying is that because you have just so many spoons and people with chronic illnesses, I want you to hear her. You can't do everything, so it's okay to give up something. So in this transition, you couldn't have that. So, and when you say that, I remember visiting your house one time and it wasn't OCD clean, but I never tied it into realizing that because you were doing like half marathons. You'd really gotten on the exercise craze and going on. And so those were the what you gave up was because your house was still clean, but it wasn't the OCD because I have cleaning issues. She doesn't, guys. Her, her not cleaning is right, is
Like
really
my kid said, it's clean, but it's not mommy clean.
right, right, right. Not the white glove that she would always used to be. So now it wasn't the white glove. So you gave up something for your health to take on this other thing. So I think that is just so amazing because do you think now, well, when you were able to finally go to your doctor, because of the exercise, having the accountability with Tara and with Letitia, and then you had your friend there, did that make a difference on the progression of your disease?
Well, it did with the A1C. So when I went back, the numbers had gone down. And she's like, "Okay." And then
Mm,
the numbers went down, the weight went down. And then I'm sorry, you guys, that exercising is an adrenaline. It helped with the depression. It helped with my joints because one, I was always in pain.
mhm.
So I said, if I'm going to always be in pain, let the pain be exercise. If I'm complaining that my joints are hurting me, if I'm complaining that this is hurting me, my muscles are hurting me, I'm having a hard time walking, wouldn't it be great to just have a hard time walking and just tell people, "Oh, it's the exercise"? That point when I was exercising, I could actually walk the way I wanted to walk because I could tell people, "Oh yeah, I've been exercising." No, that's how I normally walk. I didn't have to fake it anymore. I could
Oh,
use that as
wow.
an excuse. Yeah, man, I was working out today.
Oh, oh
Okay.
my.
And I didn't have to fake it anymore. So
Hmm.
but the endorphins and me feeling better and me getting out of my depression slump, because I'm always in pain, it makes no sense. My family is going on trips, they're doing things I can't go because I don't have the energy. It can be depressing at times.
Mm-hmm.
So that the exercise really did help, and my numbers started dropping, and it was. And I started traveling with the running, the races, because I would follow where Tara was going, where Lloyd was going, and it did work.
Yeah. Because again, I just want to say, because of your journey with your health, you've done so many things with a chronic illness. And many times I said, Carla, what's your excuse? Because again, not that we're comparing, but I'm like, I know you work through the pain and the fatigue to be motivated. But I think for everyone, you have to be motivated to take ownership of your illness and see what you can do to change the ending. Because like you said, that person, it was like a death sentence. All these other people who was like, oh, it can be miserable, but you can have a wonderful life even with a chronic illness. But be willing to share it with people, because I know once you shared it with us, we understood. So when we took a trip together, we knew that you needed certain time just to unwind with no one. It had nothing to do with anything. It's just like, no, she needs time. She doesn't need, we knew what you needed, because and so therefore you can do that. Needed alone time, or if you're feeling a little anxious for different things, just like, give me my space,
I
different
can't take
things.
sun. I can't do the sun.
Right, right.
I'm an island girl who cannot be out in the sun.
Because right, you have to keep yourself covered, because all of those things, because of your illness. Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up
Right, because
now.
they have questions. Go ahead.
Yes, and so they have questions. I'll just read a few of the different comments that were on here. Lindita says, yes, your hair is looking great, and they like your locks. Somebody said, yes, let her talk. Let you talk. Um, so Lindita says, so true about the Crohn's, so true about the gain weight when people are asking you that. Clarissa says, yes, your ignorance is stupid, preach. Ruben said, yes, that's rough. Somebody said, learning to walk in pain. And Tara was like, is that how it happened? She may not have ever known how that journey began, how her simple inquiry after the 40th party that they saw somewhere to just get us on this journey of wellness, but being open. Because one of the other things, before I let you go, because you started sharing your story, I'm sure many people have reached out to you privately and shared their
Oh,
struggle.
I'm so sorry. Yes, yes. So when I think it was when I said 2014 that you got me going, yeah, I got hit in my inbox on, it was a childhood friend, and she's like, um, told me her struggle. And she said, but I'm not ready for people to know. And I'm like, I understand. When
Mm-hmm.
you get ready, you will. And you know what? You may never tell anybody,
Mm-hmm.
because it's that embarrassing. It's that
Mm-hmm.
embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
The I have a friend with the polycystic one. She,
Mm-hmm.
she went 8 years without a cycle. How do you explain that to anyone?
Mm-hmm.
It's just straight embarrassing, the
Mm-hmm.
8 years. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of weird to begin with, to tell anyone. And then we were in Atlanta, Rob and I, when a good friend of ours started to get alopecia. And it broke our heart because she was holding on to dear life, and they put her on some hormone. And oh my gosh, she was eating everything in sight. And I was like, please stop, please stop. She's like, no, I gotta hold on to my hair. No, I gotta hold on to my hair. And we begged her. It wasn't until Robert intervened as a man, talking to her, where
Mm-hmm.
she let the meds go, and just the meds were killing her, but she was just holding on to this hair. And then yes, she went ghost on us. But when she called us back and we met up with her, all the hair was gone, but she had lost the weight and she was on the journey of accepting this is the new person that she was. But I go ghost on you guys at times because I'm dealing with how to figure this thing out myself. I don't go ghost anymore because you won't let me.
Right. I don't believe in that. I'm going to put it out. But somebody had a question, because when did you share it with your partner? When did they realize? Because I know you said when you were in college, you got a diagnosis, but you didn't know anything about it. So how did that come up in the conversation with when you did get married and you have this fatigue and you have nothing? I know you married a miracle of a man, because some men would not have would have said, deuces.
I have no idea if I ever told him. I don't know. I don't know. I know that I was open about telling people I had rheumatic fever because that's what I was diagnosed with as a kid. I had no problem putting that on medical history. I would write that all the time. Now, when I found out by myself, I don't think I let anybody know. I think my spouse was just as clueless as I am, because the way I threw it out to my mother and said I don't want to discuss it, I have a feeling that's how I threw it out to him.
Okay.
And we're not going to discuss this. So both of us were learning too, but I do recall one time I was at a low point and he said to me, something's wrong with you. I can't help you. You need to go get help. And as all of you guys know, when Robert talks, I listen. That's the only person who gets me to shut up and follow instructions. I may shut up with attitude, but I shut up and I follow and I listened. And so I don't think he knew. I think I just was that ignorant and that stubborn.
So would you say for someone who well, first of all, I know you're an advocate now for people with chronic illness. So one of the things that you do, and I love to do, is you put information out there. You put the different statistics. May just happen for Lupus Awareness Month. For that particular one, you posted, and you have a heart of compassion for many people with chronic illnesses, because there are things that we can't see. And so one of the things that I wanted to just have the discussion is for us to be a little bit more just empathetic to people without knowing their story. Just don't assume that they're trying to annoy you or trying to embarrass you or ignore you or not participate. There could be so many other things, but as you said, not everybody is ready to tell their story. And the bottom line is none of our business, their story.
And lupus and autoimmune diseases are actually disabilities. They're under the disabilities umbrella. So you can get a handicap sticker. You can get it.
Right.
Because it is a disability. It's hard to prove. Mine is hard to prove, but every time I park away from every other car, because sometimes it's a struggle getting in and out the car. Now, I will say I did go get offended when a friend of mine said, you can get a disabilities parking sticker. And I'm like, who's disabled? I'm not disabled. I'm not disabled.
That reminded me of one more story I wanted you to share before we wrap up. When we're talking about one of the things for lupus, memory loss, and how some people just get offended. Can you share that quick story with our audience?
When I'm sharing stuff, people are thinking that I'm talking about yesterday, or I'm talking about, no, you guys are not getting any story that just happened to me. You guys are getting stories that happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm not even ready to share the stories that just happened. Okay? I am sharing things. So when I shared a story sometime back, people kept on coming, oh, I forget too. Oh, I got memory loss. Oh, we are old. I was not old.
Mhm,
I was
mhm.
not old. When
Yes.
so therefore I had a crutch. I had my childhood friend who lived with me. So she would jog my memory. Now, right now, her memory is as bad as mine. So she can't remember squat either. She can't remember people either. She's no good to me right now. But 20, 30 years ago, she could remember everybody and everything, and she would jog my memory. Carmen, they were there, they did that. Okay, that's Robert. He know his memory not any good to me now either. He can't. Now we're all hitting the old age and we can't remember. But
Mhm.
they were my memory back then. Then I have been driving and hear a little voice in the back seat. Mommy, where are we going? We're going such and such. Okay, well, you passed the exit. Okay, we're on an adventure right now then. As we try to find the exit that I just missed because I blanked out as to where we were going.
Mhm, mhm.
So the memory issues and whatnot. So also I stutter when I am in a fog in a memory. I stutter. So
Mhm,
therefore, when I get in those phases, I just go quiet. I go mute.
mhm,
I go.
mhm,
So I have
mhm,
gone 3 days without talking, and then I
mhm.
finally said it's time to speak because it takes me that long to get my memory. No, Robert's not here. Those days I've gone 3 days without talking, and then I will give him instructions. You don't have to call me while you're gone. Just text me because I am in a fog right now and I got to get out of it and
Mhm.
whatnot. So my family is very understanding. I did have a talk the other day with the nieces and whatnot because they all lived with me and they did not know. And I apologize to my nieces and my children because they did not know. So they
Mhm.
had to live with me being sick and no one told them that I was sick. And they had to deal with the roller coaster of emotions because I was struggling. I did my best to explain to them, Tabby, I would say, Tabby, you have to give me 2 days notice. You can't ask me to do something for you today, now for now. I need 2 days notice. I would tell them, I don't mind us doing anything for the weekend, but you can't spring it on me on Saturday what we're going to do for the weekend. Give me notice. So this was my way of letting them know I needed to build up my energy without telling them everything and
Mhm.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So it was
Oh.
me trying to deal with it and not lay the burden on them, but I
Mhm.
did a bad job of it. So this whole thing, I do not anybody dealing with a chronic illness, young person, be open, be honest, because your partner, your friends, you don't want to lose your friends. They're very understanding. All of my friends are understanding now. My classmates that I was afraid to go on vacation with, they turned out to be wonderful and had my back. Y'all, I gotta
Mhm.
go. They understood, no problem. Okay.
Mhm.
You guys understand when I go on trips. I couldn't go to China with you guys. Nobody pressured me. I
Mhm.
just couldn't do 10 days.
Mhm.
I don't,
Mhm.
but I thoroughly enjoyed all the stories. So anybody dealing with a chronic illness, be open. Don't hide. I was wrong for hiding, but I just wanted to be normal. But
Mhm.
I nearly killed myself and I nearly damaged relationships around me by not being honest. And I was lucky enough to survive. You may
Yeah.
not be, so don't keep quiet. I did not divulge to any of my doctors, gynecologists, primary care, nothing, nothing
Wow.
until my body was on fire. It was
Mm.
around this time of the song where what's her name? Alicia Keys say, "This girl is on fire." I
Yeah.
would look down on my feet because I was sure my feet were on fire.
Mhm.
I was in so much pain that I finally opened up to my doctor, and she had been my doctor for 12 years.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Correct. And I never said a word. And when I told her I had lupus, she said, "That's a wig, isn't it? Take it off." And when she
Mm.
saw my head, she started crying because
Mm.
I was in pain. And I never said. That lady fixed me up, patched me up. The marks are gone from my face with whatever she shot me up. I don't have that black. I don't have an open sore in my head anymore. If I had just opened my mouth long time ago, this thing could have been
Wow.
gone. This sore could have been healed. All of that could have been over with.
Oh.
Because
Oh.
there was a drug out there for me. I just was so embarrassed to open my mouth.
Oh wow. I hear that. And uh Lloyd wants to know, when is your next half marathon?
Lloyd, I am in the middle of a meltdown that I'm trying to get out of. 2 Mays ago, when I did the Daytona race, I had never run on sand, so I didn't know about sand. There was not a tree in sight. It was May. I scared myself so bad that I am in a mental block right now. I'm trying to get out of. So the medic is coming back and he's like, "Do you need a lift?" I'm like, "No, no, I'm gonna finish this." No. He picked up 2 people. "I don't care. You're not taking me back." No. And I'm going, there's no shade, there's nothing. I'm like, no, I'm crying, snot's coming down. I'm crying. I'm like, "Lord, just get me to the finish line. Just don't let me die out here." And Rob's at the finish line. They've already picked up the stuff from the finish line. He's like, "My wife is out there." And he has my medal with him because he know his wife's stubborn enough. She gonna finish this thing. So I'm like, oh my God, I I crossed the finish line. Robert found some shade for me. We found some shade. He's dosing me with water. I'm crying. I said, "I can't do this no more. This is it." And he said, "No, you're gonna do it again. You're gonna do it again." No, no, no. I scared myself so bad, Lloyd, that I have not. I begged so hard for my life that race. I begged so hard.
Mm.
I had never pushed myself like that before since I was a kid. And I knew my
Mm.
heart and I had knew when to pull back in gymnastics and running. That's what I felt, that fear. And I was
Mm.
like, "You pushed it to the limit. Your
Wow.
stubbornness nearly killed you." But Lloyd, I'm a little scared right now because there were too many things I begged and promised on that race. And I don't know if I'm past that begging and promising stage. I don't know yet. I don't know if he's gonna let me in because I'll beg, "Father, just get me to the finish line. Father, please."
And so Lloyd says, we will find something post Rona to ease you back into it. Oh my. And Tabby remembered, she said, "Yes, I hated them 2 days notice. Now I understand." So again, when people don't know, but I love when you share for the young people and others with a chronic illness now. Don't go it alone. Share it. Some people may have an issue with it, but those who are your family and your friends, those who really get you and understand, will know that, so that they can now make adaptations, make different food allowances, schedule different things, or understand. As an introvert, I like one of your posts to say, "Yeah, please invite me, but don't expect me to come," kind of a thing. It's just like, it. And so people won't be all
But
in
I'm
their
going to
feelings.
enjoy your stories. I'm going to enjoy your stories. Robert goes to alumni weekend every year, and I enjoy the stories and the pictures. But please don't call me, and please don't call me and put somebody else on the phone. Yo, they want to talk to you. He knows, don't do that to me.
I hate that too. Oh my goodness. Oh, but some people find pleasure in that. So, okay, guys, we're going to wrap up, but I've thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with Carmen. And I know that she's uncomfortable with this, but she's being brave and stepping out there, because I get to hear these conversations all the time, guys. And I wanted you guys to just hear a piece of that, so that you can encourage somebody in your life with a chronic illness, or if you're the one with the chronic illness, that you can change the narrative of how people are interacting with you. and move along from there. And I want you guys to tune in next Sunday. My guest is going to be Donna Kelly. We're going to talk about family matters. And we've been having some great conversation that I just want you guys to tune in and eavesdrop about family and how to make family and address different family matters. So that's who we're going to have next Sunday, Family Matters. And so they're sending lots of love your way, Carmen, to just say, they appreciate what you've shared with us. But I want to let everybody know my name is Carla. I'm your relationship doula, helping women and men bravely birth peace in the pieces of their lives. Thank you so much for taking the time to out of your Sunday to chat with us. So you guys have a good one. Bye bye. Let me see how do I stop my live